At Solano College Sports Network, I'm Ana Petero here with Scott Stover, who is in his 14th year as head baseball coach and kinesiology professor at Solano Community College. Coach Stover has an impressive career with 287 wins, and his team has been Bay Valley Conference champions in 6 of their last 9 seasons. Coach, thank you so much for joining us here at the studio. Tell us a little bit about your background as a baseball player.
Yeah, I started off playing Little League since I was 8, and then played through high school, had a good high school career. Went to Consumers River College, where I broke the school record for home runs, which was later broken about 10 years later. And then got a scholarship to University of San Francisco, and then transferred to Chico State to save a little money. I got to play for Lindsey Meggs at University of Washington. And then just kind of started my career. I've had a little stint in pro ball for about 11 days when my son was 1. And then just decided after that it was time to finish school and get into college coaching.
And stayed right here in the Bay Area, except for the brief stint in Reno?
Yeah, all the West Coast, yeah, all within driving distance, which was nice to be closer to family.
At Consumers River College, you played with another Bay Area native, Jermaine Dye, in baseball.
Yeah,
he had the most home runs between 2 players.
And not only is he a Bay Area, he's a Solano County guy. So he went to Wilsey Wood, yeah, so, which is, I live in Vacaville right now. He had like 4 or 5 home runs, and I had 11. He didn't hit a lot earlier in the year because he was pitching, but obviously you could see even back then the talent he had, and we didn't realize he'd be in the big leagues that fast. He was drafted in '93 and was in the big leagues by '96. But his career, actually, I think he's ranked 100th all time in home runs in Major League Baseball. So his career is very, very good, and something him and his whole family should be proud of.
Absolutely. And as community college sports, students don't have the luxury of having scholarships, and you've managed to recruit from as close as Rodriguez, which is practically down the street, to Waikea, Hawaii, all the way as far as Venezuela. How do you get students from around the country and around the world to come to play for you?
Yeah, the recruiting is a big part of it. With the kids who are farther away, it's the Solano College Sports Network that's been really plus for us. If you look at the time that this has really flourished, and compare that to the people we've had on our roster from out of state, that's the correlation. They're able to see themselves later, their parents can see them on TV, so it's a huge plus. And then identifying those kids, and then teaching them of what we can do for them and how we can help each other.
And get them scholarships to a 4-year level to play there. And as such, you understand more than anybody how important a grade point average is to have in order to play and get a scholarship. How do you ensure that your student athletes reach their potential both in the classroom as well as on the field?
Yeah, our policy in recruiting is you have to bring a parent on your visit, because they're the ones who are your support staff, and we want the parents to be involved in that, because we feel like if we're pursuing these kids whose parents push them as hard as we do, they're going to have more success, and making them understand what it takes to play and go to school at this level, and also what it takes to go on to the next level. So I think that's been a big plus, and why I think we've only had 1 player ineligible in the last 7 years. Our goal is to make you Division I eligible from the get-go, and if you fall short, a class or 2, you make it over to summer school, but you're always eligible and able to transfer. And our transfer rate is very, very high, and I think our graduation rate from the 4-year school is as high as any other school out there. There's no data to prove that, but we're happy in what we've done so far.
Well, I understand that you transfer at least 85% of the ball players to 4-year universities, and at least 48% of them have gotten degrees and are productive members of our society, and that's within the last 6 years alone, right?
Yeah, and not only that, we do a Christmas party for the alumni every few years, and we did one last week, and there was about 45 people showed up, and halfway through the party I said, raise your hand if you graduated, and almost every hand went up, and that's one thing we're proud about. They're going on and getting degrees and getting good jobs and careers, from engineers to guys in law school, pre-med. We've had all those types since 2003, and that's what we're most proud of. We win our games, we win our conference, we've done all that stuff, but I think in the end the ultimate goal is to get these kids in the right direction to be men and productive members of society.
Absolutely. I coach the speech and debate team, and I had the pleasure of having my sons compete for me as well, and it was really challenging balancing being a parent and being a coach, especially when you get home. You had that unique experience as well with Tyler being on your team, your son Tyler. Tell us a little bit about that balancing act.
Yeah, it came in the direction we didn't want it to, where he went to Kansas State first out of high school, played a lot. Unfortunately, he got injured the last series of the year against Texas, so we had him take the year off to get healthy. But we've done a good job with it. It's only been here this semester, and he'll play for me this spring. We have a rule in the house where we don't talk about baseball, college baseball at Solano at the house. Occasionally he'd ask me something about an at-bat that day, but that's about as far as it went. We both respected the rule pretty well, and he is, 20 years old, so it's not like he's home all the time. Has a life too, and he's working hard in the classroom. So, but I think we both respect the role, and it's a good way to coexist as a family, as well as coaching and players together.
Excellent. And he's among a really great group of young men who are playing for you this year. Last season, you ended the season as co-champions in Bay Valley Conference play with College of Marin. What do you expect of these young men this year?
One thing, we returned about 15 guys, about half our team. And the one thing, when we lost last year in the regional that we hosted, we lost by 1 run one game, 2 runs the other game, and one of the games was in 11 innings. And when we lost 11-inning game, I took our team down the line. The first thing I said to him was, how bad does that feel? And if you guys like it hurts, I said, I hope you hold that feeling the whole year to motivate you to work harder, not only in the classroom, but in the weight room, on the field. And the guys have talked about that. In their interviews, they were talking about how last year just kind of hurt a little bit, and they still have that taste in their mouth. And I feel comfortable where we're at right now. You always can improve. There's always room for improvement. We'll see over the break how hard these guys work over the break when they come back, and they'll show us.
Absolutely.
But we think these guys have the right work ethic, and they work together very well. It's one thing that most teams I haven't had in the past, that so many guys on the team work together. So I think that's going to be a plus thing for us.
Managing the time, I know a lot of them talked about being good time management, having good time management skills so they can balance student, athlete, and some of them have to work for a living as well.
Right, and I think we do a good job teaching them that. With the other requirements now, we get 175 contact hours for baseball with them. So we take those hours and put them in the classroom with those free hours. So we're teaching them, and our schedule works really good with its class, study hall, practice, weight training. There's not a lot of dead time for them, but they have time at the end of the day to catch up and kind of reboot for the next day. I don't think they're overwhelmed by any means, but you have to be able to manage your time, and I think we do a good job teaching them how to do that.
Well, if you have less free time, you're more productive, and you can engage more both in school and at work. So thank you so much for that, being such an amazing coach, along with your assistant coaches. You have 3 assistant coaches this year helping you. Yeah,
and they've all been through it. They've all played junior college baseball with 4-year experience, so they've been through what they've gone through. Like we've said before, with teachers here at all colleges, they have to go to school to be teachers. So it's good to have guys in our program who've all played, and now they're coaching these guys. So they can ask questions that they don't feel like they can ask me. But it's nice to be mentored by somebody who's been through it. I think that's the only way you can be mentored is by someone who's been through it. So we do a good job of that.
Kids like to talk about street cred. I think if you've played the game, you get a lot of street cred from the students, and so because they know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yes. Well, we look forward to supporting your team this year. Our team this year. I'm a homer too with Solano College baseball. Their first baseball game will be on February 6th at 1 p.m. here at Solano Community College. Thank you, Coach, so much for joining us, and good luck to your team this year.
Thank you.
Go Solano.